You are listening to the 2.5 Weebs podcast, a show where two veteran anime fans drag a newbie down the rabbit hole of waifus, isekai, and fan service, as well as the happenings in the gaming world. Enjoy.
Hi there, cool cats and kittens. Carol Baskins here.
I quit. It's been a wonderful time, everybody. This is the end of the podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm the new third fucking host.
Oh, God. Ruined. What's up? Yeah, no, that was great. I had to do it.
Oh, no, it was great. It's great. I hate it. It's great.
Oh, God. So yeah, 2.5 Weebs, we are here. This week we're going to be discussing SSSS.Gridman. Copper, Comfy, how have you guys been this week?
Good. We also have to discuss Tiger King because Comfy went and watched it over this last week, and
it's something.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I can give you if you want to like just give a teaser of my impression right now, and then we can talk more about it later, so that people have something to stew on.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure.
Cool, I'll give a good 3-second, 3-word review. What the fuck?
There you go. Okay, this is the part where I talk about me and Kaylee watched it on a Saturday, and I got progressively more and more drunk as we went along.
That seems to fit exactly in
I kind of forget how it ended exactly. Not gonna lie, like the last episode, probably a blur. And as we discuss it, I'll probably remember it.
Spoiler: he went to jail.
I know that. That was episode 1 that we knew he ended up in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not every day that a zookeeper gets arrested for murder for hire.
That's true.
Though I'm very certain he was set up. Very certain. Because frankly, he's not smart enough to have done this by himself.
Okay, see, that's the part I don't fucking know. That's the part I don't remember.
Okay, we'll get into that.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So is this just gonna be the Tiger King episode? You want to just quickly say if we liked Gridman or not, and then just dedicate the rest of it to Tiger King?
Because there's a good bit to talk.
Gridman.
There's a good bit to talk about with Gridman because
Gridman was great.
it's an interesting show.
Oh, it was definitely.
Oh, also Darwin's Game. Meh. It was okay. I didn't watch episode 4. I didn't really.
Because he's.
I forgot for a second that Dale actually didn't do his homework last week.
No, he definitely did his homework.
So I was like, why the fuck did he bring up Darwin's Game? And I'm like, oh wait, yes, that's right. He didn't fucking watch it last time.
Like, I didn't
be real. He made me think that I was screwed and like I was supposed to watch something this week that I didn't. I was like, oh no.
It's like, oh no, what did I forget?
I didn't.
Fuck, it's just Dale.
I was very unopinionated.
Darwin's Game is good.
It was fine. I didn't dislike it, but at the same time, it didn't really do anything to really drag me in.
I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know if it turns out as good as Future Diary does, like for fucked up shit.
I might
Future
watch
Diary, like,
more of
dives
it, but
fucking head first into that, and Shark still needs to watch it. And I just asked you about that. So I gotta finish that. The other thing we have to go over is the fact that new animes have started. The spring season is upon us.
Yeah.
And I have a recommendation for the first show to watch that is new for the new anime season.
Cool.
And the first 6 episodes are available, so we can watch the first 3.
Are we not? Is this Tower of God?
No, I'm waiting for the first 3 of that to come out because I do want to cover that.
I know that's going to be a show that we have to cover, obviously.
Yes, and someone just guessed it right in Dale's chat. It is BNA. It's Trigger's other one.
Oh, they put out all of those first 6 episodes.
First 6 episodes are out for that. Yeah, they were like
on US Netflix.
I don't know. I don't have US Netflix, so I can't tell you.
Not on US Netflix. Okay.
But Cherry says no.
Cherry always knows all this shit.
Thank you, Cherry, for being a good and knowledgeable weeb.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, but that I've heard nobody has stopped talking about Tower of God yet. So
I'm not surprised. It's probably the most popular
web series,
web manga out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like, okay, straight up. So in one of the Discords that I'm in, there's like me and 2 other guys have an anime discussion chat, and like we're the only people that talk in it. Somebody came in and is like, I don't watch anime, I don't read manga. I have watched the webtoon for Tower of God religiously, and I will watch it when it comes out.
Neat.
So I'm very interested in it because
Yes.
people who don't like anime like it. So maybe Dale will like it.
Yeah, apparently it's supposed to be super interesting.
Like it's not like there was anything particularly wrong with Darwin's game, but like
That's not the point that I'm making.
yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah.
Like it has a wider spread of
Gotcha.
appeal from what I've heard. And that's I don't even know what the show's about. So could be good, could be terrible.
Okay.
I could be talking out of my ass right now. Nobody would have to know.
I mean, is your noise gate
I
gonna
do
pick
know
up
what Tower of
farts?
God is about. So it should be interesting. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I haven't read the manga. I just know the synopsis of the show. So
That makes sense.
I've also noticed something I want to talk about later as well. That I noticed, not just something from this season and from last season, but a previous season as well that we had looked at when we were looking at new animes, and I'm wondering if it's an ongoing trend. So we'll get to that. So first, quadruple S.Gridman.
Yes.
Now, Dale, you'd asked for a mecha show.
Yeah.
This is 100% a mecha show.
Mm-hmm.
And is actually interesting in its callback to giant guy fights kaijus.
Yeah.
The live action Japanese shows that we get. Even the motions that some of those monsters make are 100% reproduced from these old live action shows.
I want to also point out, so this is a trigger show, so it's weird as hell. But one of the things they talked about when making this show is when Gridman and the kaijus are fighting, it's all like 3D CG. And they intentionally did it that way as a callback to the kaiju fighting shows.
Gotcha.
Yes.
It also actually didn't look half bad because 3D always looks terrible, but it actually looked pretty good in this. Don't know why.
Now, it should also be mentioned that Gridman, the hyper agent, is a previously existing thing from like 1993, 94. So this was already a thing, right?
Really? Okay. So it's like a like a reboot? No.
I don't know if it's a reboot or if it's a continuation because I haven't seen the original.
Gotcha.
But I know the original exists. I know it's it's got the three main characters are kids who are actually computer savvy, unlike our three knuckleheads.
Hey, Rika's pretty cute though.
So, like, that's as much as I know. I know it had like a ton of episodes and stuff like that, but I know this is probably connected in a few ways.
Cool.
So, and I don't know if we're getting a sequel to Gridman either.
Yeah. What year did this come out?
Trigger, so probably not. It came out last year.
Okay.
Yes.
See, now one of the things that I do, like, I love seeing a show where it's like, this is the one season or like maybe 2 seasons. And I'm like, yay, I can possibly fathom seeing myself watching all of this. Rather than like a huge long episode or like huge long running series where there's so much to watch. It's like, I'm never going to get through all this. I just don't have time.
Yeah. There's some shows that are definitely just too big to watch now.
Yeah, like
there's certain things we've never covered in this.
Yeah, like One Piece.
Because like One Piece, like Naruto, like Dragon Ball.
Like 3 episodes
wouldn't be
doesn't
good shows to watch.
Bleach. Yeah, like you can't watch 3 episodes of those shows and decide whether or not you want to continue with the show. Now, I can tell you that Bleach, One Piece, Naruto, Dragon Ball, they're all good shows, but there's caveats to all of those, and one of the biggest caveat that is across the board is the fact that they're hundreds of episodes long.
Right.
So if you want conclusion, in some cases you're not going to get it. Like One Piece is still going.
It is 920 something, 30 something episodes
That's
right
a
now.
lot.
Dragon Ball has story arcs that conclude, but it itself is still going.
Yeah, which is I'm actually really enjoying the story. Keep it going.
Bleach, you can watch all of Bleach. Bleach is done. Oh, good, Cherry. Cherry just confirmed some in our chats that that Gridman is continuing, so we are getting a continuation, which is cool.
I wouldn't expect that, honestly.
That would be me in that room, comfy. I would hate that on so many levels.
And Naruto, you can watch and get conclusion, but you've got to watch all of Naruto. Then on top of that, you then have to watch Naruto Shippuden, all of that. You'll get a full conclusion of that story at that point.
Who's Naruto? Is that Boruto's dad?
And then there's also the new thing that came out. If you want to continue with those characters, where it's Boruto, which is Naruto's the main character's son.
And
so
apparently it very much so still follows Naruto in that as well.
Very much so. I'm not surprised. He's super popular as a character, and
Yeah, well, like one of the top things that Icy posted all the time is like, look at this Naruto and Sasuke fight from Boruto, and it's like, okay, like,
yeah,
we made a show about the next generation, but then promptly threw them away, so don't worry about it.
I mean, if you're gonna have characters who are as popular as those characters in a generational show where they show up, you kind of have to expect it. I mean, look at Dragon Ball, right? For those who don't know, when Dragon Ball went to Cell Saga and we started getting all that stuff with Gohan, Gohan was supposed to replace Goku.
Yep.
And it was supposed to be following Gohan from that point forward as the main character. Fans fucking hated it.
Well, fans
and
Gohan.
Yes, they ended up hating Gohan, and so they reverted back to following Goku. But that was the actual story. It was supposed to be following Gohan from that point forward. One of my favorite storylines, though, from Dragon Ball is Gohan in high school. Like, I love the whole Super Saiyan Man thing. Like, that was... insanely cringy.
I didn't get that at all.
Honestly, too cringy for me.
I didn't see that bit at all.
Super cringy. It's super, super cringy, but I enjoyed
cringe humor and stuff. So
yeah, you have issues there. But I liked that, right? So no, like, so I'm not surprised we had the same thing here in Boruto. Anyway. So this anime, Gridman, pulls from a lot of sources of previous shows and genres in Japanese culture, and it shows up in how they do the giant fights with the animation, as well as the actual movement of, as I said, as the monsters. Like, if you grew up with things like Power Rangers, for example, which is probably the best known for people who in North America, when in episode 3 the kaiju goes from like the kid to the kaiju, and he's doing that whole growing motion, like becoming huge, that's 100% the same motion you get from the monsters in things like Power Rangers when they're growing huge. Because
they also had when Yuta activates it, like later on, he does the full-on like wrist movement, like
the whole wrist movement thing.
That's 100% Power Rangers. They did the transformation, which was so. It's like Power Rangers is the U.S. West like version, but there's 80 million different versions of it in the East and Japan and stuff.
Yeah, and it was there's a whole history of how the Power Rangers came over and came to be a thing in North America. And there's even a documentary that goes over it, which is kind of cool to watch and go through. But yeah, so it pulls from all these things, and we get this show, which follows our main character, Yuta, who is an amnesiac, so he has no memories, including about who his friends are, who he is, or even such basic things as, I live here.
Yes.
Which is something usually when they bring up like this character has amnesia, they kind of skip. They're like, they know how to do all these things, they know where they live and stuff like that, but they don't remember their name, which is not quite how amnesia works. So he remembers how to do stuff, which is normal for someone who has amnesia, but he forgets all personal details,
right?
Such as including where he lives, which is an actual portrayal.
Yeah, he
nice
ends
to
up.
see.
He wakes up in what's her name's room? Or not in her house somewhere.
Yeah, he wakes up in a girl's house, in Rika's house. He doesn't know where he is, who he is, who she is, or how he got there.
Right.
And so as the story goes along, you find out that he passed out in front of her house. That something had happened right before, like during the day, involving him and her in some capacity. We don't know what because it's not brought up again yet during the 3 episodes we watched. And she doesn't want to talk about it. She just kind of skips over it. And he lets it drop because, 1, he doesn't remember what the fuck she's talking about. And 2, he's got more pressing concerns such as, I can't remember my name or where I live. So she takes him to the hospital. But when he's at her house, when he wakes up, he goes to the bathroom, throw water on his face, trying to become ungroggy. Where you realize that he doesn't know anything, including himself. He starts hearing a voice, goes downstairs to the store that these people live above. They own a building where there's a junk store down below and the house is up above. And there's this old cobbled together weird looking computer with like a little siren and thing on it. It's very strange, but again, straight out of these old shows.
Yeah.
And
pretty neat,
This is the most anime.
yeah, and Gridman pops up on the screen. He's like, hey, there's danger approaching. We need to do this stuff. And he's like, what the fuck? And Rika's there and she can't see that this thing is on. It's not to her. She doesn't hear anything. So they're like, okay, you must be hearing and seeing things to go along with the loss of, information of who you are. You must have hit your head when you passed out. And so her mom's like, you should take him to the hospital, like have him checked out, might have brain damage. So they go outside, they're walking to the hospital, and then he sees in the city skyline, there's a massive fucking kaiju shape. And he's like, holy shit, there's a kaiju there. And she's like, what are you talking about?
Nobody else sees these things.
And so nobody else can see it. So they go to the hospital. He gets checked out. Doctor's like, you'll probably be okay in a few days, which is actually true for people with amnesia. It generally does go away on its own. It just takes a little time. And she's like, okay, you should probably go head home. And he's like, okay. And then he's like, I don't know where I live.
She's like, fuck, I guess
Which
I
is
gotta
something
take
she
you
should have
home.
considered, like, and she's like,
she's been like, fuck.
It's a good thing she waited around outside the hospital for him, right?
Yeah.
Like, shit.
well, and then she's like, well, I don't know where you live. Like, this is the most we've ever interacted. Even though we're in the same class. He's like, oh. And she's like, do you have your phone? He's like, yeah. So he gives her a phone. She calls, looks through his phone, finds a friend of his, calls, like texts the friend and says, hey, he's had an accident. He can't remember anything. And we need to take him home. Like, he's been to the hospital. They say he's okay. He's got to go home. Where does he live? And gets the address that way. Now, it turns out the reason his parents don't come to get him, which I guess people might be concerned, like, wondering why, though it doesn't occur to either of these people. His parents, it turns out, are away on a business trip for 3 months and can't come back. So he's living by himself for now.
Are they made aware of this? Did we find out? Do they know?
We don't know if they've been made aware or not. Situations like this are pretty common in actual Japan, where the parents work away and kids live by themselves.
Really?
For teenagers, at least. Yeah, it happens every so often. Cultural difference, they're a lot more responsible than North America.
What?
It's
I
really
think
hard to
so.
be more confident than a North
responsible.
American teenager. What the fuck do you mean, Copper?
So,
Lies. Shenanigans.
he goes home, goes to school the next day because his buddy comes and gets him.
Yeah.
And then, an actual kaiju ends up showing up, and he transforms into Gridman by getting sucked into this
he ends
computer
up
thing.
he ends up sprinting back to the shop. He's like, fucking Gridman will save us. And his friend's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, he sprints back. They come in. Just as they come into the shop, he gets sucked into the computer.
They pick up the girl along the way as well. So it's the 3 of them that show up in the shop, and he opens up the computer and he goes, Gridman, help! And then Gridman's like, it's time for us to fuse. And he's like, yeah, okay, great. And then he gets sucked into the computer because, like, of course, it's like, time to fuse. Great job! Great idea.
He's like really into it for no reason.
Right. It's kind of funny. So then, like,
he's like, that makes sense.
Yeah, let's fucking do the shit.
Yeah.
And then he basically
transforms. They end up fighting the kaiju.
Well, like he gets sucked into the computer, and then Gridman, like the giant mecha robot that he is now kind of, is he the pilot or just kind of like connected?
So
I don't know. It
the
doesn't matter.
way it works is they actually fuse and become one being. So
Yes.
Gridman is from the hyper dimension, and is
Proper here with the fucking lore. Jesus Christ.
he doesn't have actual form or shape on Earth, so he needs someone to fuse with to be
So
able to come
he
into
is
Earth's
essentially
dimension and
a symbiote.
kind of. So they basically fuse together to become one being. It's like, the fusion dance type of thing.
This just sounds like Venom with extra steps.
Symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, so it literally is they fuse, they become one being, and
They do a
giant
dance.
robot guy. They
There's no
fight the
fusion
kaiju.
dance.
They say fusion ha.
There you
And
go.
the other two use the computer to tell him where the weak point on the monster is. He ends up ripping its head off and then blowing it up.
Which
during
looks
this
like a
time,
robot.
It has destroyed, during this fight and during the time the kaiju's raging around, it's massacred the city. There's massive amounts of places on fire. The school's been hit by fireballs, and
You've all seen the end of Godzilla. You know what it
and,
looks like when Tokyo's destroyed.
Yeah.
people are dead. People at the school are dead.
That sounds sarcastic, but that's what it is.
Yeah, so this is what happens, and then they're like, "Oh God, people have died." It's like, yeah, but we stopped the monster. Blah blah blah. Next day, they get up, they go to school, and they stop right in front of the school, and we're looking at them, so we're not seeing what they're seeing. We're looking at them, and they're like, "What the hell?" And the school's been rebuilt, and they're like, "Okay, well, maybe Gridman, rebuilt the school in,
Overnight.
for overnight for as a kind of a thank you for helping them stop the kaiju." And this was all over the news and all that stuff because modern world with news organizations and technology, information spread is super fast, and then nobody's talking about it. There's nothing in the news about it.
Nobody knows what they're talking about. They start talking about the kaiju and Gridman. Everybody's like,
And
the
then-
fuck are you guys
Hey,
on?
I just really quickly want to point out that in the previous episode, there was some really bitchy girl that was on the volleyball team, and she got smacked by a fireball. Thank you very much. We can continue.
Yes.
She wasn't bitchy. She was clumsy.
She accidentally threw a ball and it smushed the main character's hot dog that was
Special
gifted.
dog.
It was
yes.
okay. This pink
Special
haired girl
dog that
gave
he
him
got
a
from-
very special hot dog. It looked pretty delicious. I'm not gonna lie. She smashed it. And she was like, "I'm so sorry." And then the guy still ate it. He's like, "It's still fine. It just got smushed.
Yeah.
He's gonna eat it."
It wasn't an accident. And he did say sorry.
The cute lolly gave him a wiener, and it got smushed.
She's okay,
God damn it, Comfy.
She's probably the most developed girl in the class, so she's not a lolly.
It was very tiny.
She's short with big boobs. Comfy. That's not a lolly.
Opie lolly.
Goddamn. Anywho, she got blowed
So,
up,
18
and then
plus.
they asked about
the
her.
volleyball team gets struck by the lightning bolt, by the fireball, and they notice that there's people missing in the class. They ask about it, and they're like, "Well, their desks are missing too." So they ask, and they're told that we don't know who you're talking about. Like, these people aren't in our class.
They
never
don't
have been."
exist. Who is that?
So they find our other guy character, who's basically the sidekick, is able to get the addresses of the 5 people who are missing, and one by one they go and visit these places after meeting our other character, the samurai. So
yes.
he introduces himself. And he's like, "I'm a samurai. I work together with
3 swords.
Yeah, he's got these 3 big swords that he takes no care of in walking with, so he walks in the shit with them all the time."
So stupid.
So you see him in the first episode because he's staring aggressively at the main character from 3 feet away.
It's kind of
Yes.
creepy.
And everybody else is ignoring him.
Everybody else is like, "Oh, I don't care about him." And then he walks in, and then they're all sitting in their junk shop, and they're like, "What the hell do we do about this? What's going on? Why is everybody disappearing?" And this motherfucker tries to walk through the door and slams his swords on it and falls over. And is like, "I'm Caliber. Nice to meet you."
Yes. And they're like, "Okay." And he's like, he mentions that he works with Gridman. He's there to help. And they're like, "Okay." And they're like, "Well, we are going to find these 5 missing people." So he grabs that, and they follow him. They track down all these locations, and they find out one by one that each of the people who are missing
They've been dead for a
are-
while.
members. They were all members of the volleyball team, and they've all been dead since like middle school rather than high school.
Yeah.
Which is an
Weird.
interesting thing. Which
It's
is weird.
important to note that the
and an
volleyball team
interesting
was the
thing.
only people killed because they were cleaning the gym and they were the only people left in the school when it blew up.
Yes, they were the only people there. So,
That is why.
Yeah. they had a practice. We're cleaning up after there.
Now, granted, Opie Lolly decided that it should be them who dies and strategically planned that they would die
Yes.
because.
So, yeah, we then learn that the person who is
Well, we don't
behind
learn
the
that until
kaijus-
the end of this episode. Like
I
it's
thought
yeah,
it was
but that's-
earlier on.
no, it's at the end.
No, we yeah, it's about now that we learn it. Really, after
No,
they
it's.
discover
I thought
the
it was
five people are dead.
after he fights another kaiju. That
No, it's
then
before it's before we fight the other kaiju because we get to see her making the kaiju and laughing at the girls die.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Okay, you're
So
right.
100% right.
Yeah, so it's after they discover all these people are dead, have been dead for a while.
Yeah,
we
you
get
get
introduced
a-
to the fact that the villain is actually
pink
another
carrot
one of the
lolly.
classmates. It's the girl who sits next to him who gave him that special dog, and it turns
Likes
out,
the pink fade hair, man.
yeah,
Guess whose Code Vein character looks like that? That'd be crazy.
and it kind of turns out that the reason that they were targeted, like the monster appeared and those girls died, is that she specifically targeted to kill them in response for hitting her with the volleyball and smashing her the special dog thing.
I
she was
feel like
giving
it
to
was
somebody.
just targeted the girl that actually did it, but it by proxy killed them all.
It was her and
seemed
her
that
friends.
way.
She specifically made. She mentions she aimed to kill them all.
Oh, okay, did
Yeah,
she? Okay.
She's happy that the volleyball team is gone.
Yeah. It was
See
the
what
group of them
happens
in
when you
class,
have
they
to
were hanging
read
out.
subtitles. I
So,
miss stuff because I get even a little bit distracted and I miss stuff.
Yeah. So it turns out she's also got like a guy in a computer who's helping her. She makes
Kaiju.
sculptures, like kaiju sculptures out of clay, and he turns them into real things in the
Mhm.
world that then go out and do her bidding. So she makes another one, and the reason she made this one is to kill her homeroom teacher because after overhearing her
Bumped into
classmates
and didn't apologize.
That's
when she was
literally
trying to
it.
get more information, he bumped into her, didn't apologize because our homeroom teacher is like this really distracted guy.
He just seemed totally out of it. Like it was one of those things, like you see someone walking around and you know that they're having an off day. Like their
Yes.
dog might have died or something. It was that bad.
Yeah, he's like completely like just fried, like overwhelmed type thing. Like he's like barely
He
paying
couldn't pay
attention.
if he wanted to. So
So
It's,
he doesn't. Yeah, they bump into each other. He doesn't apologize. She goes psycho on it, sends out this monster to go and kill him. It's specifically targeting him like through the city as well. She's got like a little flying drone to help target him. Gridman shows up and she's like,
Wait,
screw Gridman.
not
like,
only
he-
does Gridman show up, but the samurai steals the entire group of kids from school and like throws them all on his back and does like super anime leaps across the city like Spider-Man to get them in front of the
that's
computer.
episode 3. That's
Was that episode 3? Okay,
That's
all right,
episode
never
3.
mind. Back up.
So episode
Okay.
2, they're hanging out somewhere, and because this is after school, that's why the teacher's out in the streets. Gridman shows up. He uses his Gridman beam, but she had thought of this having seen it last time, and this monster has the reflective ability on him and is able to absorb the blast and reflect it back at Gridman. Because of this, he's like, well, I don't have anything to fight him with, and Caliber's like, well, let me help.
Hold my
And
beer,
He goes in the computer and turns into a giant fucking sword.
which
yeah, he
is
just hold my beard, turns into a sword. Like, okay, now we're watching Bleach.
because he's Caliber,
So-
guys. He's the sword.
Joke is I've never seen Bleach before.
It's like
So-
it is literally like the Power Rangers thing where the Zoids
Yes.
all morph together into one giant
So he
robot.
gets the sword, becomes
It's
like
hilarious.
the swordman Gridman, and they cut the
Boy.
monster in half. That
Yeah.
defeats them.
I'll be honest, that's the moment that it sold me because I was like, this is not a serious show at all. This is a fun show.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
funny.
she gets mad that Gridman's defeated her monster again and plans something to help destroy him. We go into episode 3. We see her give a lunchbox to a little kid, and you're thinking, okay, they kind of resemble each other a little bit with the hair color, so maybe he's a kid brother.
Mhm.
And she sends him off. He goes to school. They're in class, and Rika is missing from class. Our main characters try to contact her. Yuka tries to call her. She doesn't answer because she's run into the kid we'd seen previously, and he's like messily scarfing down this lunchbox that
Right.
he's given.
Like
she's like,
no silverware or anything. He's just like eating it
yeah,
like
it's
a
like
dog
all
would.
over
He's just
all over his face and everything. And she's like, well, he's probably still hungry. And she ignores the phone call and offers him another lunchbox, hers. And just as she's doing that, he gets a call from our villain in class and tells him to go wild. So he leaves, turns into a kaiju, and starts attacking the city and coming towards the school. So this is when Calor smashes into the school, having already been hanging around outside,
right.
grabs Yuta, and is trying to leave, like with just Yuta. Our sidekick character grabs onto him because he wants to go with.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the way back to the junk shop, he picks up Rika. It says, "You're coming too," and off they go. They go to the shop, turns into Gridman, and goes to fight this thing. And the fight does not go well. Specifically, this episode is called Defeat, and he gets the shit kicked out of him.
I was gonna say, this episode, like, I was reading the episode titles, and I walked into this one knowing it was called Defeat, and it actually like had some weight to it, which usually doesn't happen.
So so the Anti, which is the name of the kid and the kaiju monster hybrid thing, he's got a beam weapon just like Gridman. He can match his abilities, so and he's much faster.
He actually talks to Gridman too, and then Gridman and then they're like, "Oh my god, this is a person."
Gridman's like, "Oh my god, he might be a person," because
just
his
like
sidekick had put the idea in his head, and he doesn't want to kill people or fight them. So he's holding back during the fight. Anti's not, basically blows him up. Caliber comes in as a sword, and Anti grows giant blades, Wolverine style, out of his arms. In a result, then does a super speed thing and blows him up again. And then, from what we know, both of them die.
Well, so it shows that, and then it cuts to Rika and the dude who we don't care about his name because he's a male character in an anime.
Right. And the computer shuts off,
and it just turns off.
The computer turns off. They can't do anything. They think everybody's dead. And
I mean, to be fair, you would think they're dead if the computer if your friend like went to a computer and then it turned off. Yeah.
So they assume they're dead. Next day comes around. City has been reset again, and they're about to go to school, and they're nervous that, is Yuta actually dead? They don't know. And so they go to his apartment, but before they do anything, she's like, I can't deal with the fact if he's dead and everybody's forgotten him. It'd just be too much. And so she leaves, and his buddy ends up leaving as well. So they don't bother to check on him. They go back to the shop. They're super depressed. They end up like spending the whole kind of day there, and her mom comes in, talks to her for a little bit, then leaves. And then the shop door busts open, and in walks this I don't know, 4.5-foot kid with pigtails, wearing a suit. And she starts talking about, this is where they were told to meet and stuff like that. And then other guys walk in.
The big, huge blonde guy with some metal mask.
Metal mask and a metal arm.
You have a small, I think it's a girl.
Yeah, that's definitely a girl.
Definitely had pigtails.
Yeah, that's a girl.
It could be a dude. You don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's a girl.
I'm pretty sure it is too, but there was enough of me going, am I sure?
They are young enough, they appear to be young enough that it's hard to tell, especially given their body shape.
And then they were like, we're high schoolers. It's like,
no.
We'll get to that.
So you have this tiny
joke
girl
there. We'll get to there.
Who's clearly kind of in charge. You have this massive dude 6'5" with a metal face mask on, who is just bulky as hell and looks like he's going to murder someone.
It's not just a metal face mask. It covers his neck and chest, and there's a metal club for an arm as well.
I didn't notice the arm.
I didn't notice the arm.
It went down to his chest.
Yep.
And then you have a dude who just looks normal on the other side.
Yeah, a normal looking 20-year-old guy.
Dude, normal colored skin, black hair, medium length, just normal guy. Yeah.
So our kids are like, I'm sorry, the place is closed. They're like, oh, there's a cafe at the back, and they go sit down. They're and they start talking about stuff, and then they mention the fact they, had come there because Caliber told them to meet them there, and they're there to work with Gridman. They're like, well, he's kind of gone, and they're like, no, he's not. And they're like, well, he kind of is. They're like, well, have you bothered to check on them? They're like,
how?
No,
you have a phone, right?
Friends would have multiple ways to check on them. She's like,
You guys
Okay,
have
and
phones, right? That's
She pulls out her phone and calls him, and he
Yeah,
answers.
the freaking Blizzard devs show up, and it's like, don't you guys have phones?
And she's like, "Oh my God, you're alive." And he's like, "Yeah." And
we've
the
just been
little
on
one takes
standby
the-
waiting. We're fine. We've just been recharging.
the little one takes the phone from him and talks and says, "Let me talk to Caliber." Caliber's like, "Yeah, we're fine. We're just hiding, waiting in ambush for this next time this thing comes out, so we can jump on it and destroy it without it like realizing we're there." So like, well, great, but just come back. Like, we need to talk to you. Just come back.
Here.
Yeah. So like, okay, fine. So Gridman appears in the city again. Rather than coming back to the computer, appears in the city. This prompts our villain to go, "Motherfucker's still alive." Sends out Anti to destroy him again. And so they start fighting. The big guy goes into the computer. He turns into a giant like tank truck.
Yes.
He ends up
This is the most animation.
Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. And he
he
shoots at
ends
the
up like turning into these giant arms that attach to Gridman, so he's got like giant Hercules fists.
The arms are
Prime
almost
shows up with 2 giant Blastoise cannons on his back, and
Uh-huh.
he shoots Anti, and then he goes, "Gridman, let's combine." It's like,
Yes.
you got it, and he just the truck just splits in half and becomes arms.
and the
Yep.
arms are about as long as Gridman
As
is
Gridman,
tall.
they're
It looks
fucking huge.
No,
Like-
they are as tall as him.
he
Like,
kind of
if he
becomes
was
a knuckle
standing-
dragger, but like
Yes.
he just pummels the shit out of this kaiju because his arms are the size of the kaiju now, and it's fucking
Yeah, so they end
ridiculous.
Great, is the best
Him, the
thing I've
kaiju-
ever watched.
Him and the kaiju end up fighting, and they both hit the point where they run out of time, and their little lights on their head start blinking,
Oh, God.
which is also a callback to the original, like Ultraman and Super Saiyan, like the Gridman shows. Like that's a callback to those with that little lights and the sound. And they're like, I'm out of time. So Anti transforms back into his like little human form, and Gridman goes back through the computer, and she's like, "I'm sorry I didn't, answer your call yesterday," and that's pretty much where we're at. And then the episode ends with the girl coming out of the house again at the end, just like we'd seen at the start of the episode, and Anti standing there, but rather than hand him, the bento lunchbox, she throws it at him and covers him in food, and then walks off.
And this is where you see the villain become the hero, best friend, probably.
So that's where we kind of stand in brief synopsis. So
That'd
one,
be
I like
crazy.
this show quite a bit.
I thoroughly enjoyed this show the entire time.
So it's
I found
a
it
trigger
corny, and
Yes,
but it grew on me. Like it's so corny, but it grows. Like it's.
I like it because it's corny. It
Yeah.
knows what it
Yeah.
is and it plays it up.
Yeah, that's.
It
yeah.
is-
Trigger's really good at. To be
yeah,
fair.
it is a trigger show, so there are certain things that make sense.
They
in it.
made 100 Mob Psycho,
so-
right? Was that Trigger?
No, that was
No.
Okay.
They made Gurren Lagann.
Yes.
We haven't watched Kill la Kill on this show yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so they made things like Gurren Lagann, Kill
We'll
la
have to Kill
Kill,
la Kill.
a few other shows as well. That they're known
Gotcha.
for a specific type of animation style that's
They
super
did
frenetic,
Darling in the Franks.
bright colors, and the use of drills, which
they're very soft.
we do. We also see the drills in the opening for the show. So there are drills in the show somewhere, which is a
Oh.
fucking trigger thing.
Also, if you notice, the beam that he used was it was very much spiral.
Yeah.
So
So there's certain
it's a
nods to
trigger
their
show.
normal stuff.
It-
Yes,
it looks like a trigger show.
It's a trigger show through and through. So it's got
Uh-huh.
great animation, great, really interesting story, lots of humor, very corny, and they play very strongly to the elements that this show pulls from culture-wise, right? Like some of these shows that like Ultraman and stuff like that are decades and decades old, so they're very much playing tribute to, the roots of, these giant robot shows genre, right? Like that's what they're playing tribute to, which is cool to see
Mhm.
in this new anime. But yeah, this is 100% a recommend.
Oh,
Yeah, same. It's
If you like giant monsters or giant robots, or like fuck, if you love the Power Rangers, go watch the show. You will enjoy yourself.
I think I will
Um,
watch more of it.
I
am
wanna
definitely
point
gonna-
out, I was walking into this show with low expectations.
Same.
I didn't know what to expect with the show. I knew it gotten a lot of buzz, and
Yeah,
I knew
no,
that people
same.
liked it, but I didn't know when it first came out. I
knew-
kind of skipped it because I'm like, I don't really know about an
Yeah.
Ultraman show. Like Ultraman's kind of this old school type thing.
Well, it was never like Ultraman, like Power Rangers and stuff. Like I watched a little bit of Power Rangers, but it never really appealed to me. It was never something I like woke up on Saturday morning and was like, oh my god, I need to watch it.
I was in grade 6 when Power Rangers first hit the airs in like North America, so I was in that prime age, right, for the first wave of Power Ranger stuff, and so it's very much a nostalgic callback for me. Like I even have like a big board game of Power Rangers coming as one of the shipments of board games I have coming to my place.
Go, go,
So-
Power
Did you see that Gloomhaven
Rangers.
is getting a sequel board game?
Yeah, Frosthaven. Yeah,
And it already
not
raised
even-
$5 million in less than a week.
I'm not surprised. I own Gloomhaven. It's sitting up on my shelf.
Now-
I have,
That's why I brought it up. And I was also, I also knew you'd probably heard about it.
yes, I have not finished Gloomhaven yet because it's a massive fucking game.
Now, is there
Um,
anyone here who has seen the new Power Rangers movie that came out a couple years ago? Is it worth my time?
I've heard it's not.
Okay, that's not really surprising, to be honest.
Well, you want to
even-
know? You want to know what movie came out that I just started watching but haven't finished yet?
Konosuba?
Yeah, the Konosuba movie.
But did you get to the surprise?
What? Okay, I don't know what that means, but
Batman
knowing it's
dies.
Konosuba, there's a 50% chance I've hit it and a 50% chance I haven't.
The
So-
general surprise. The one that our main character is very not happy about
No,
when he learns about it. Okay.
that's gonna be a no. I'm at the point where he's nervously pacing around a bedroom while Megamine's sleeping in it, and he's like, "Well, his mom is trying to make me sleep with his daughter. What do I? Her mom's trying to make me sleep with her. What do I do?"
Yeah, her parents, when Megamine's parents find out the fact that he's about to get like $500 million, and they're like, well, now.
Well, it's like the demeanor completely changes.
To
I
be
love-
fair, the parents' demeanor changes. It's the mother who knocks out the other members of his party, including and the father, and then locks him in the bedroom with Megamine.
yeah, like removes the door handle. With
Yeah,
magic.
she seals it with magic. Yeah, he can't open the door.
Yeah, it's kind of it's something. I was watching it and it got to the part right where Megamine opened her eyes and then I turned off my phone.
Interesting.
Because Copper knows I don't do well with that kind of
It's
cringe.
There's a lot of cringe in that scene, and
I know it'll get better
goes-
past that. I just needed to take a breather.
Yeah, that scene goes for a little bit, so it would be rough for
it's-
Comfy.
It's him like walking around his party member's room while she's asleep and trying to debate whether or not he should violate her because her mom is trying to make him.
Oh my
Yes.
god. Okay, that sounds.
He's like,
Alrighty
"Should I-"
then.
Well, violate is a bad word. He's like, should I make
yeah.
a move? Like, should I try to like,
The-
you know?
The point he was debating whether he should just lay in bed and try to sleep because they would be sharing a bed and it would be weird.
Yeah.
And then it got weird after that.
Shocking.
He's like,
So
yeah, and then he makes it super weird, and then, you know, she wakes up, and there's a whole scene after she wakes up too. So
oh god.
I'm
Um,
very aware, and I love Konosuba, and the movie's already been great.
oh, the movie's awesome. The movie
I
is
love
so
when they
good
get
from
to the
start to
they
finish.
get to the Crimson Demon Village, and it's like, man, I wonder what they're like here, and they're all just batshit insane. And it's like,
Yes.
you know what? This makes a lot of sense.
They are the most anime characters could be.
When they go up, it's like, oh, we have 1,000 people from the Devil King's army attack. He's like, what? How are you gonna deal with that? And you just have all these like Crimson Demons like dancing around and shooting lightning bolts out of their fingers like assholes. And there's like, it looks like Armageddon of like magic, like something you'd see at the end of like Clash of the Titans when Zeus is mad. And they're just like laughing, and all the Devil King's army is like, "Oh my god, what the fuck? Why did we decide to do this?" It's a stupid movie, and I love it, and I need to finish it.
The great thing about it, Comfy, and I won't spoil anything, but you do learn the background to the Crimsonite demons as a people.
Nice.
So that was a nice touch that's in there.
I'm excited. I
So yeah, the movie adds quite a bit to the lore of the world, as well as being an interesting story, itself. So, which is neat.
and it added so many characters, like Megamine's parents, who
Yes.
her mom is just Tifa from Final Fantasy VII. And her dad is just a Pokemon trainer from the first generation. I bet he trains dragon Pokemon looking at him, honestly.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's if you like Konosuba and are caught up, because it does kind of take place after the last episode of the second season.
It's one of the actual like story arcs from the light novel.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're caught up to the show, you can go watch the movie. It's on Crunchyroll.
Where I was watching it.
And that's, an arc by itself because they are dealing with one of the generals there as well. So that's cool to see.
A general from the Devil King's army. So they are progressing the story. And it already the movie already starts with a veneer, which makes me happy because he's my favorite character. The best of the Devil King's generals.
Former general. So yeah,
I haven't
good movie.
I haven't read all of Konosuba, but I'd love it if the end game of it was just every single general from the Devil King just ends up working in Wiz's shop. That'd be great.
Well, I mean, some of them are dead now, so there's that
Don't
too.
worry.
Yeah,
we can take the rest of them.
But yeah, so Gridman, 100% recommend.
Yeah.
Konosuba movie, recommend. So are we going to cover B&A for our next show?
We can do B&A.
What's it called? What's B&A stand for?
It's just
That's
called
the
B&A.
name. That's just the name of the show. Is B&A.
B&A.
Yeah.
Okay, where can I watch that?
Yeah.
Is it Crunchyroll?
It is Netflix. Let me.
It is
Netflix? Okay.
It is a Netflix thing. I don't know if it's on American Netflix yet.
Well,
If it's not, I can drop you guys a link for it.
okay.
Okay, so the Nashville International Airport is actually titled as B&A, so it makes it very hard to find. I searched B&A. The first is flynashville.com. The second is B&A brand new animal trailer official PV2 English sub.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right, we'll watch that next. So,
Yes.
Hey, you cool cats and kittens.
No, I was good. See, we discovered
So, we
who was
have
behind
another-
all of the shit that is wrong with the world, and it's Carol fucking Baskins.
Yeah.
Bitch!
Down in Florida.
B&A stands for brand new animal, says Cherry.
Oh god, Tiger King is a fucking ride.
All right,
Holy
so
shit.
This past week,
Okay.
they had already watched Tiger King. I watched Tiger King. I laid down Sunday night afterwards in my bed, pulled out my phone, and I started watching it. I got about 15 minutes in, and then I went to our group chat and said, "What the fuck?"
Yes. So literally the Monday, like, because it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
my time. Like the Monday of, like, I see 4 messages pop up in the Weeb chat that we have to
I can
discuss
read
stuff for
them,
the show.
I can read them.
It's like I am 15 minutes into the Tiger King episode 1, and then what the fuck? It just all in capital letters. The next 3 messages. And that's
Yeah.
it.
And I was like, I know they're gonna be asleep, but they need to see this. They need to know that I know.
It's one of those shows where if someone hasn't watched it, if they sit down to watch it, they need to, like, if you can get them to live tweet their responses to stuff out, would be great, because the show just goes from, okay, that's kind of strange.
I had to pause the show and audibly say "what the fuck" multiple times, just because it's so. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like doing stuff and everything's fine, and then you see like Joe do something, and I have to pause it and be like, "Did that happen?"
So
And it did. It so clearly did. They caught it on camera live, and it's like, what?
and here's the thing: some of the footage they have that they've caught live was even given to them. Like, it's not even some of the stuff they shot themselves. Some of the stuff was given to them by Joe, or was
by
made
GW Zoo.
was made by the GW Zoo, or was made by Carol Baskin, or
Well,
was made by news companies who were covering Carol Baskin because she murdered her husband.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Here, 1 second. I need to.
She
take an
allegedly
post on my
covered him
town
in-
billboard.
She allegedly covered him in sardine oil and fed him to a tiger. Allegedly.
What
And
is-
maybe allegedly buried the remaining bones underneath the septic tank on her property. Like, allegedly.
What is that, Comfy? God damn it.
Copper came to my island and left a note.
So the whole I did.
Okay, we're side railing this right now. I'm playing Animal
Hold on.
Crossing. I just
I
went
need
up
to
to
go.
my
I need to go over to your stream.
I just went over to my island,
damn it.
my island's billboard, and I see Copper drawing and a hangout face, and he sent it 7 days ago. Like last week, I opened my island and we had like a 4-hour fishing session with just a bunch of people. Copper showed up for a little while, didn't join the Discord, didn't join the stream chat, and just did a couple things and then left.
Yes.
You figured out what it is.
I guess I'm still figuring it out.
God damn it.
I quit. I'm sorry. I had to derail that. So back to Carol Baskin killed her husband.
Yes. So the whole entire thing, it starts off the documentary, because it's a documentary series. It starts off where it's the documentarians talking about the fact that they had set out to make a documentary about something else. And while researching that documentary, they'd gone to this place to talk to this guy, and this other guy comes into the shop and mentions that, hey, you guys want to see something neat? Come see this cat I just bought. And they're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, I just bought this,
Snow leopard.
Snow leopard. It's out in my van. They're like, excuse me? Because
No, it was something about reptiles, right? They were researching reptiles or something?
they're researching illegal animal trade, like around reptiles.
Okay.
Honestly, this was actually really hard for me to watch at the beginning because this, like, seeing the cat in the van in Florida heat in like 100 degrees, made me sick to my stomach.
There is a animal cruelty warning when you start this documentary. Please be advised, if you are very sensitive to animal cruelty, there are some images that are difficult to take, and it starts off with one of them when you see this cat.
Yeah, no, and it made my stomach drop, but it
the cat hasn't been beaten or anything like that. There's no blood or stuff like that, but it's obviously in heat distress. So that's the thing.
It is a snow leopard, believe it or not.
In Florida,
in the snow.
Yeah, they're not meant for super warm temperatures.
It's like huskies don't do well in warm temperatures. Can you mitigate it? Can you mitigate it to make them more comfortable? Absolutely. Yes. But they still
can they climatize
Florida.
Can they climatize a bit? Sure, but they also still have very, very thick coats, and it's a double coat that is just natural to them.
Keep that thick coat because it also keeps them cool. There are people who will get a husky down in like Florida
and then shave them, and that's
you can have a husky in Florida. It's actually it's fine, but you just need to know how to take care of them. You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I know, Dale, you have a husky, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to know how to take care of them. They're very active dogs.
I also live in Ohio, so it's not nearly the same as Florida.
Not even close.
I mean, Warlock's part husky as well, but I live up in Canada where it's cold.
North.
Yeah. So anyway, so it starts off, they meant to go film this other thing, and this guy randomly introduced them to the fact that there's this big cat trade going on in America that is actually very, very illegal. And so they set out to basically find out about it. And, the major players that are out there, and for these, like, basically unregulated zoos that just kind of exist all over the States. And they basically meet 4 zookeepers. And there's some other ancillary ones we meet as well. So the big ones we end up meeting, and the main one we focus on, are Joe Exotic, which is not his real name. His real name is his real name is a little convoluted because he has been married a few times, and he's kind of incorporated every name when he's got married, so his name's a little weird.
Is that why it's also very hard to pronounce? Nobody knows how to pronounce it. So
his normal name is his normal last name is kind of long.
Alan Maldonado Passage
is his current name. Now his original name starts with an S, and it's kind of long, and he himself admits it's a very difficult name to pronounce. Which is why he goes
Schreibvogel.
Yeah, it's something like that. So
it's spelled SCHREIBVOGEL. It is quite difficult to pronounce.
Yes, which is one of the reasons why he went by Joe Exotic, just because it's a stage name, easier for people to pronounce.
Yes, and he does.
We also meet
kind of have exotic cats. So
yeah, so he has a zoo that he keeps with exotic cats, some monkeys, apes, stuff like that.
In Oklahoma.
And then, in Oklahoma. And so we're introduced to him, and we get a view of his zoo and how he takes care of things, and we learn that he's a little eccentric. He's
I
he's
want to
got a
point
bunch-
out, I watched one episode, and then something I actually do very commonly is I just turn on like the Last Week Tonight playlist on YouTube. And the episode of Last Week Tonight that played was the episode about third-party candidates from 2016 that included Joe Exotic.
Yes,
I was mind blown because they talk about it later in the documentary.
yes, they do. So something mentioned later is Joe ran for public office a couple of times.
He ran for president.
One of them was for president. He'd also run for governor
Of Oklahoma.
of Oklahoma. It should be noted that he had, I think it was 16% of all the votes in Oklahoma. If that doesn't terrify you, I don't know what does, because that's 16% as an independent.
He was running. He was running as a libertarian.
Yeah, as a libertarian.
He ran as an independent for president, but he ran as libertarian for
governor. Yeah, so it's 16% is a lot of the vote. Like, that's close to 1/5 of the people in that state voted for him.
That's
one of the ways
like 1
he
in
got
7 people that voted for him.
One of the ways he got his campaign out there was giving out condoms with his face on them. So, which have shown
he passed those out in parades.
He did. They're now shown up on eBay.
His gift shop also
Tiger King underwear.
has Tiger King, like not
Tiger
just
King.
the underwear, but like
It had Tiger King underwear and merchandise and stuff like that. The underwear was apparently his bestseller.
yeah.
I'm not actually surprised because it was all like animal printed, like sexy underwear, and that stuff frankly does sell well in shops like this as gag
My
gifts,
favorite
things
part
like that.
is then the guy filming the documentary asks Joe, he's like, "So do you wear these?" And Joe goes, "Oh, I don't wear underwear."
He's like, no, I don't wear underwear. They're like, you don't wear underwear? It's like, no, I just free ball it.
Those poor
Cool.
pants.
It's so
He works
funny.
hard.
Joe's
Those
a
have got to
very-
be sweaty.
Yeah, so
Sweaty
we meet
ass against the jeans,
he's
man.
a very eccentric guy. He's got like a bunch of facial piercings and ear piercings. He's got a mullet. His hair is dyed.
I saw a joke that he gets a piercing for. He gets a piercing for every straight man he converts. That's the
He
joke that I
wears
saw.
like really flamboyant outfits. He's got 2 husbands, both of who are straight, and he's gay. We'll get to that. And he runs this big zoo, and and stuff like that. And then we start learning he's got like this show. There's this actual TV producer guy who's a serious producer for news and TV programs.
Like
who
an actual
works-
big shot
yeah,
producer.
an actual like big shot, well-known producer guy who is there and is helping produce this, who's helping produce this web series and making another reality show as well about Joe and the zoo and stuff like that.
Now,
I
is he
never
the one that
introduced-
produced this documentary? I never.
No,
Okay.
no.
I didn't think so. I
Um,
wasn't
the people who
positive
did
though.
this-
Of getting Joe a reality TV show, and
Yes.
he also
So-
basically went like the
He
moment
came-
that prospect was gone, he was like, "I'm out, I'm done."
He came to the zoo because Joe was trying to shop around this idea of doing a reality TV show about him because he'd make a good reality TV show. Kind of right. And he gets involved based on that. And he makes a deal with Joe that says, I will come and produce your web show that you do and make it professional and, top notch and stuff like that, if you allow me to shoot a reality TV show about you in the zoo, and I own all the rights to the reality TV show and the stuff I produce. Joe says, okay, cool, that's fine, signs a contract to that extent. That becomes important later. So we'll put that aside for later. So this guy is there as well. And then as they're talking with Joe, they introduce the concept of Carol Baskin.
Carol fucking Baskins.
That bitch.
So Joe is having problems, legally speaking, with this woman called Carol Baskin down in Florida, who runs a quote unquote animal sanctuary that is basically just a zoo that is worse than Joe's.
Marketed as a rescue.
Marketed as an animal rescue and animal sanctuary. Now, the thing with animal sanctuaries and rescues is they don't have visitors, and they don't let people come in and feed the animals and do tours and all this shit. They don't.
Unless
It's an
you're
animal
Carol
rescue.
fucking Baskins.
I did get some more information on this. The reason that they're able to be classified as an animal sanctuary is because they're no touch and they don't touch their animals, and that's pretty much it.
Yes. Well, they claim they don't touch the animals anyway.
This was actually because my parents started watching this as well. One of the things my mom said when Carol was talking about, like, oh yeah, like Joe is a terrible person because he keeps these animals in cages, and my mom was like, wait, what the fuck? That's exactly what she's doing.
Her
Why is
cages are
it okay when
worse.
she does it.
Now,
She has
Joe's
tiny
cages,
cages.
That should be noted. Joe's cages, which we do see quite a bit of, are huge, right? They accommodate
They are
multiple
crowded,
animals.
though.
There are a lot of tigers in them, but they are massive cages. We don't really see if there's cages in the back because we do see like runs where the animals come through into these smaller, more crowded cages, like smaller with quotation marks. They're so big. More crowded cages where people come by, right, for the zoo shows and stuff like that, and for feeding time. So it looks like there are pens like in cage areas in the back or areas where people don't go.
That is allegedly a thing. There was somebody who used to volunteer at Big Cat Rescue was talking about it on the internet the other day.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure Carol Baskin has those as well. The issue with Carol Baskin's thing is that where they're up front and you get to go see them is there's these small little offshoot cages where they feed them from, so you can get like a super good look at the cat. But the cats can't stand up all the way in these, and there's a door behind them where it can actually shut them in it. And so they're then stuck facing this one direction with just like a feed trough in front of them, which is kind of creepy.
Like,
but anyway, he mentions that he's having like legal issues with this woman because she keeps going after his business because he's doing like shows in malls.
He is not a good person.
No, he's not a good person.
Nobody
Make no
here
mistake,
is.
Oh no! You know who I really liked and actually respected was Mario.
There are
I liked Mario because he was like, listen, I was a terrible person. I was a cocaine dealer through the 80s. I lived Scarface. Like that was my life.
He didn't live Scarface. He's literally the inspiration for Scarface.
Yeah, like
that character is based on someone who shows up in this documentary.
Yeah, he's like that. Mario lived like a wild life, and he's just straight up is like, I did my time, I made mistakes, and like there's these cats that are living terrible lives, and if we can't give them what they want, we got to give them as much love as we can. And I was like, you know what? I like this guy the most out of anybody in this documentary.
Yeah, he specifically mentions that it's impossible to return the animals to the wild. Some cases they've been in captivity too long; they can't be rehabilitated out in the wild. Plus, there's the whole fact that these animals require a large bit of land for territory out in the wild, and that territory just doesn't exist anymore because of human encroachment and human deforestation and a bunch of other reasons. It's shit that humans have done.
Yeah,
right.
Humans are garbage. We suck.
So these big predators that require these big territories to be able to hunt in and and whatnot just don't have that anymore. It's not existing for them. So it's not like we can put them back out there.
And also, rehabilitating animals to the wild is very difficult when they've been raised in captivity.
Yes, if you get them young enough, it's doable, especially for big predators that don't have a natural predator themselves, like tigers and stuff.
A lot of the younger tiger cubs being born could probably be conditioned and then released into the wild later on in their lives. The older ones absolutely could not.
So we meet Carol Baskin and we learn about Joe's problems with her, that she was basically trying to shut down his business, like some of his businesses where he'd go to malls to show off these cats and stuff like that and other animals. And she has a massive issue, not with just Joe who does this, but anybody who does animal shows of any sort. Which she has a problem with.
I can understand.
Now, she also has a problem with, it doesn't matter what the animal is, though. Now, it should be noted, and specifically noted, that she's kind of a hypocrite.
She is not kind of a hypocrite. She's 100% a hypocrite.
She's 100% a hypocrite. So, actually, probably worse. So, we meet them, and then we get to meet another character called Doc Antle. He's not actually a doctor, but I recall
he has a PhD in mystical some shit or other. Supposedly,
there is no such thing.
I'm aware.
He doesn't have a PhD. He's not a doctor. He goes by Doc as his name because his first name is also kind of weird. Like Everybody in this
his first name, I don't know if he's legally changed it. His first name, as he introduces himself, means Lord. And on top of that, unless he's legally changed his name, his first name is actually Kevin.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah. So Doc Antle runs a sex cult.
So
he
runs
does.
another zoo.
I think my favorite part, maybe not my favorite part, but
turns out to be a sex cult. Now,
I enjoyed the
he's
interview with
notable.
the ex-girl that used to live with him.
Yes,
That was nutty.
Honestly.
Yes,
nutty.
Like the ex-cult, the ex-cult member.
Yeah.
So he does run a cult that is basically a sex cult if you want to not live in a barn. And on top of that, he actually has a lot of connections with Hollywood because he supplies a lot of animals and does training for animals for a lot of Hollywood movies and things like that. Like the animals that appeared in what's the fuck is that Jim Carrey movie?
Ace Ventura?
That's it.
Ace Ventura 2. He does that stuff. He's done work with Britney Spears and other stuff as well.
And Vegas as well, like all that fun stuff.
So he does a lot of big money Hollywood stuff.
Yeah.
Now, these zoos do typically reach out to stars and celebrities and stuff like that to give them the quote opportunity to interact with cats. Like I think it's Joe Exotic who's got pictures of him with Shaq.
Shaq was set to sign to own part of the zoo. Like they don't talk about that in the documentary, but that was that was a big thing apparently, and that obviously fell through when ownership of things changed and
things started happening
and
so like a bunch of things happen. Like Joe gets into these lawsuits with Carol because he basically starts antagonizing her, and he gets into a copyright lawsuit, which is, by the way, bullshit. The ruling that was put against him without a defense, I should note, by a Florida judge, which is even more bullshit because the way things are run down in Florida is fucking weird. So he basically doesn't get to mount a defense at all against these charges, which is bullshit for any type of lawsuit.
I was looking at that. I was like, listen, I don't think he's being a dick.
He's being a dick. 100% being a dick.
He should get a slap on the wrist somehow.
But
this lawsuit's bullshit.
But that lawsuit itself, like copyright infringement, 100% not. I do logos
and Jesus, guys.
Like I do copyright and like stuff for part of my job, right, as a living. And I've done it for small people, big people, billion-dollar businesses. This does not cross the line of copyright infringement.
Copyright infringement.
It's super close.
Involve trademarks and
right. It's super close, but there's no like he's not using her logo.
They were publicly available images.
He's using publicly available images.
Or images taken from public spaces.
Right. She specifically tries to entrap him by after he uses an image and asking for permission to use said image, she goes out and buys the rights to that image and then sues him for copyright infringement after the fact. Problem is, you can't do that.
Multiple months to get there first.
So that he had used the image months previously, and then she bought the rights. Then months later, sued him for using that picture. The problem is he'd used that picture months prior to her owning the copyright, which means she can't actually sue for copyright infringement in that case because she didn't own the copyright at the time. So that's actually quite literally bullshit. And part of the ruling is also based on these flyers that are given out. And it mentions in like the deposition, it shows in the thing that they accuse him of handing out flyers, and he has video evidence saying, no, I didn't. I was in this rabbit suit the whole time. And we have it filmed, and you can see going through the film, I don't hand out a single one of these flyers, but they're like, oh, but you were there. So what? Like, it doesn't matter he's there. He's there at a protest, right or wrong, but because it's a protest, which is legally allowed in the States, just because he's present doesn't mean he's the one who produced the flyers. And they have no proof saying that he did, and they can't even show that he's handed any of them out. So there's this bunch of bullshit stuff that happens, and the main reason I think she wins this lawsuit is Carol Baskin is a multi-millionaire.
Oh, Joe straight up said that that she just bled them dry.
Yeah, and Joe Exotic isn't. So she basically goes after him legally over and over and over, bleeds him dry, gets all these like faulty, like bogus bullshit charges put on him,
They just
and
keep
it
adding
builds up
charges
this.
so they can't get out of it.
It builds up this toxic atmosphere between the two of them. Like she even like goes after his mother at one point and tries to take her house. Like
It's so silly and petty. They're both fucking
like it's
awful.
insanely petty. Like there's even a reporter who covers this stuff. It's like she's like, yeah, like the stuff between them is toxic and stupid and petty. And then she gets this thing like ruling against him, and everybody thought that would be the end of it because he's got this ruling against him. Like he'd back down, leave it alone. Then she's like, and then she tried to collect. And as a reporter and as a person, she's like, that's really weird. Why would you try to collect on something you know he can't repay? And then on top of that, you start going after his family to repay his debts, which is what she does. And so there's this toxicity between them that's discussed and gone through. And then at the end of an episode, of episode 2, they're talking to this other guy who knows about the situation. This does not work for either of them, but he's in the animal business as well. And he mentions this thing that to him is a throwaway line. He just kind of throws it out there. And the interviewer stops him and goes, what? Because he had just said Carol Baskin killed her husband. And we have a lot of memes about this now. And the interviewer's like, what are you talking about? And we go into our next episode, which is all about Carol Baskin.
He stops. He's like, wait, what? And he's like, oh yeah, you don't know that? And then it
like,
hard cuts to Doc Antle, to every other character that has been in the documentary so far. It's like, oh yeah, no, she killed her husband for sure.
Yeah, like everybody, like he's like, yeah, it's kind of a known secret. You know, like, what are they talking about? And so we have a new episode, and it goes into how who Carol Baskin is, because by this point she's just this greedy,
she's this person. Also,
like
I want to point out, this lady, from a lot of people were like, oh, she's misrepresented, like people that worked with her and stuff. Once you see the inside of her house, if you come up with any other like conclusion other than she's psychotic, you're wrong.
It's not just the inside of her house, it's things she says throughout it that contradict herself and prove that she's a hypocrite who wants to control this space and control the narrative of everything.
That is just the baseline of you look inside of her house and oh my god, nobody needs to have that much tiger print, leopard print, cheetah print everywhere. It's just weird.
Yes, it's very weird the way she dresses and stuff. So they go into her history. She's from this other state. She meets this married guy, basically becomes a mistress. He lives his family for her. They end up getting married.
Filthy fucking rich.
He's very, very rich, but he doesn't act like it. He's very like frugal guy who's very, kind of shady himself in terms of his business deals and stuff like that, and how he handles money. Nobody's quite sure about how much money he's worth.
His lawyer said at least $5 million.
He literally buried money.
Like $5 to $10 million, his lawyer says, at least easily. But I'm not sure. Like, I'm his lawyer, but he's very well known for hiding money, like figuratively and literally.
Like he brought up like burying it wouldn't be out of character.
Like him buying gold and burying gold.
It was the other guy
that
was
character and stuff like that. So he's got all this money and nobody's quite sure about what it is. He's very careful with his money, and he's very careful with who knows what assets he owns and what stuff he doesn't. He has a will, and all that stuff. Like, he has everything taken care of, like that a paranoid person with a lot of money would have. And he marries this Carol Baskin, and eventually things go on, and he does something very strange. This guy doesn't trust authority, doesn't trust the government, doesn't trust the police. And then he goes to cops and files for a restraining order, which is odd behavior for him, specifically so. And it mentions
red flag,
which is a giant red flag that someone who doesn't like government, doesn't trust the police, is super paranoid, goes to the police for help filing a restraining order that specifically says, he wants a restraining order against his Carol Baskin, his wife, because she threatened to kill him and she has a gun.
Yes.
Which apparently, because she says, no, I didn't say that, is enough for him to not get granted a restraining order, which is
bullshit.
insane.
You also find out later
very common.
You also find out
this
later
is-
her brother is like a cop,
So,
right?
and
Yeah.
then he goes and then he disappears. right?
After
And
telling
people are
some
like,
of his friends that he's going to tell her that he's getting a divorce.
Yes, so after telling like a
And
business
that she's
partner
getting nothing.
and stuff like that,
He
that
came up.
he's getting a divorce, and because of the way he's always done things, set things up, she's basically going to get nothing.
And
'cause he
nobody
probably
ever
had a
sees
prenup.
him again.
So he probably had a prenup, and then, he disappears, and people are like, okay, where is he? He's a multimillionaire, so it makes the news and all that stuff. And then the police start investigating, and immediately they suspect something is odd because he's a multimillionaire. He disappeared. There's no news from him anywhere.
Right.
There's no chartered flights or anything like that. So a few days go by, and they find his van. And they do something that is beyond bizarre. So they find the van of a missing person who they think has probably been a victim of homicide at this point. And then rather taking it for testing or dusting it for fingerprints or anything like that, they give it back to Carol Baskin. And she has it for 4 days. After which point, they come back to her and say, "Oh, we need the van. We need to, check it for evidence." So she's had this van for 4 days. She's probably the main suspect, which is normal for a murder investigation. The first people you look at is the husband or wife, or anybody else who stands to financially gain, which she is both. There's also the restraining evidence, that has been filed. So that would be another evidence that she's probably the number one suspect. And so they give this massive piece of evidence to her, then come back later. And then we find out, as Dale had mentioned, her brother is a police officer, which is okay. That's kind of, where does he work? Oh, turns out he works in that sheriff office that's investigating the murder. And she's like, well, I'm not really close to my brother. We didn't really grow up together. I'd moved out by then. Turns out, we find out, well, that's really odd. Why would her brother become a police officer in a different state where she now lives, in the Pacific County that she lives in, and they not really know about it and have no connection? Oh, and it should be mentioned that her, quote, abusive parents that she mentions and talks about work on her zoo and live there.
Yeah, she's just kind of.
So, and it should be specifically noted, they move in right when she's having trouble with her husband and he's trying to get a divorce, and then he disappears. So, and they're like, oh, there's, we're sure nothing happened here in proprietary. It's like, really? Because the van thing is the whole thing. So that's the whole thing. Like, he's disappeared. And then we go back to Joe sometime later, and he gets mauled by a lioness. And he assumes someone at his zoo tried to kill him. Joe's a little paranoid as well.
He's on meth. It makes you paranoid.
Because he's on drugs, probably not just meth. And then he assumes
is one that makes you very, very paranoid, though. So that's.
But meth is one of the drugs he's on. We know that for sure because of other people. And he makes this comment that someone must have put cologne or something on my shoes to make this cat go after me. And we cut back to Carol Baskin. She's like, cologne or something. Well, that wouldn't work. You'd have to use something like sardine oil if you want someone, want a tiger to eat somebody, which is a odd statement to make. One of many she makes throughout this whole documentary. Like, she makes another one where she's talking about how, talking about Doc Antle, where, he doesn't pay his cult members very much to work there, at all. But they do make it's like $117 or something like that a week or a month. Like, it's a pitiful amount of money.
Yeah.
And she makes note of this and says, anybody who does that's an awful person, that's slave labor, blah, blah, blah. And then it cuts to the documentary people noting that all of the work on her zoo is done by, quote, volunteers who don't get paid anything.
And interns.
Volunteers and interns that don't get paid anything, and that she doesn't even bother to learn the names of. And to progress to become like higher levels of interns or volunteers, you have to take these courses that she offers.
Yeah,
Which is like, it's it's.
I
when
bet
you
you
go
those
through a
courses are free, right?
No, probably not. And things get weirder and weirder. There's like a con man who comes in, and Joe
Yeah,
gets
Jeff the con man.
Jeff Lowe comes in, who's 100% a con man. He even mentions during it that, when he's talking about Joe being arrested for murder for hire, which is what happens to him, that some people would call it, setting him up. I call it this other thing, which is kind of admission that Jeff Lowe helped set up
Oh, he totally.
Joe
could.
Exotic for murder for hire, because the quote assassin that Joe hires is Jeff Lowe's right hand man, and he tried to get him another assassin previous to this, but Joe had no money for him, which is the same the case here. And it turns out the money that Joe quote paid the assassin actually came from Jeff Lowe, and Jeff Lowe's ordered to give it to him for this other thing that he'd done. Which
The fact that Jeff's not in jail is wild to me.
I don't know how Jeff's not in jail. I don't know how the other guy is not in jail. And Joe is. It's so, now Joe does deserve to be in jail for animal laws he broke.
Absolutely.
But murder for hire should not be one of them.
Oh yeah, no, that was that was bullshit.
The main, Joe's in jail for I think it's 22, 23 years is the sentence he got.
Yeah,
I think the majority of that comes from the murder for hire charges, sentencing wise. And I think the reason they brought the animal charges at the same time as the murder for hire stuff was to remove jury sympathy from him, because the murder for hire charges are very, very circumstantial evidence wise that they show, and they don't make a lot of sense unless someone was leading Joe by the hand in these things, which is
kind of what
which means which is basically what happens. And it also means that he's not guilty of murder for hire, because he's just kind of going along with, as what these other two want, and had never took an action that would facilitate the actual murder for hire. Like, he never gave someone money, he never went out and found someone to do it himself. Like, none of the steps that the FBI agent they show and talks about, you have to take to be hit with these charges and have them stick, Joe actually does himself, until Jeff Lowe starts leading him and says, yeah, he did these things here, look, I can show you, because it's things that Jeff Lowe had him do. And it kind of admits to it. So it's
calls and stuff. It was.
Yeah, it's always Jeff Lowe leading discussion and leading him into things. So it's this weird thing, but there's so much in this documentary, it's impossible to go over it all. But if you haven't seen it,
it's fucking wild.
It's insane. Go watch it. You'll probably binge the whole thing.
We like I said, me and Kaylee watched it in a day. We just took the day.
Yeah,
in between doing some chores, and
everybody who's watched the show has watched the whole thing at once.
It's insane. It's nutty.
I had to break it up because it was just too much for me. I'll be real. It was just, the show is wild.
So all you got to do is tell people that they can pet a tiger, and then you can get them to do your bidding. Don't actually do that. That's a joke for legal reasons.
For legal reasons, that's a joke.
Yes.
One thing I do really quickly want to touch on. We did have some game releases over the past week.
Also, I will eternally enjoy Doom.
Oh my god, it's such a good game,
it's
right?
so fucking good.
Dude,
so
I kept
good.
telling you it's such a good game.
So
oh
good. I loved it. It was so the last mission. Holy shit, was so hard and fun.
The boss fight. Oh,
the boss fight was cool. I didn't. Yeah, it was very fun. What difficulty did you do? Did you do?
I did not Nightmare, the one right before Nightmare.
Okay, me too. It was a challenge, and it was fun, and it was
a challenge, but it wasn't ball crushingly hard.
Right.
Which is ultra violence is what it's called.
Did you guys go through and get the extra weapon thing unlocked by doing the 6 keys? Yeah.
No, I didn't do them all.
I cleared every map, every collectible, every side thing.
Really, I didn't do that. I didn't have the time. I didn't find the time. I want to.
That's how I enjoy games.
Yeah.
So
Comfy is a completionist, so.
I'm a completionist for games where it's reasonable and fun.
I want to go back and do the Slayer keys, because that's just fucking fun. Really fun. Those are fun, difficult arenas that they throw you into, and I like it.
Yeah, I loved pretty much everything.
Yeah.
in Doom Eternal. I don't
So
think I can
good.
actually name anything I really didn't like. Also, last night I installed a new mod on Black Ops 3 for zombies, which was a Modern Warfare mod, so it imported a lot of Modern Warfare guns. And one of the guns from Modern Warfare 2 is the Ranger. It's a double barrel shotgun.
Nice.
The upgraded version of it was called Mortally Challenged, and I loved it because the joke in Doom is demon is an offensive term. Please call our new friends Mortally Challenged.
It's a super shotgun reference. Got it. Nice.
Yeah, I love it so much.
Oh, the meat hook.
Dude, the dude
So
actually
fun.
animated a meat hook onto the bottom of the
Nice.
shotgun in this mod,
Cool.
which makes it so funny.
So you also played the new Modern Warfare 2
I did.
remaster. That was only the campaign and only on PS4, which is stupid.
It's absolutely stupid.
30-day exclusive, I believe it was.
It's a 30-day exclusive. Now things to note, because man, we all already agree that this was stupid. This deal was probably in place a year ago.
Probably.
Yes. Yeah. This is a
Now, I
long-standing
wonder
deal.
if
No
I
doubt.
if I play original Modern Warfare 2 on my PC on the best settings,
Not even
it's
close.
like the same. No, it's like the
Not
same
even
comfy.
close.
It's just 100% the same. What do you mean?
Listen, I actually want to like give a shout
just
out
kidding.
to Beanox for doing this. Holy shit.
No, I was just
That game with the new models and the lighting engine is so good. It is incredibly beautiful. It plays exactly how Modern Warfare 2 does, which is what you want. You don't want it to be like aggressively different.
Right.
It plays exactly how it used to. It's just way prettier. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I wasn't trying to download the game. I have a lot of issues. I have a lot of issues with that because PlayStation. But so that came out. Resident Evil 3 remake came out. Which is, I played a bit of it. It is very scary. I'm bad with scary games. It's a fun time. And then what else came out this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna
didn't come
have
but-
fun this week with scary games too. Our buddy Shark just made affiliate on Twitch.
Yay!
And part of the thing he had mentioned for getting affiliate is that if he makes it before he has to go back to work, which got extended, unfortunately, he's going to play a horror game, and he's worse with horror games than you are.
He would have been safe
On
if he
stream.
hadn't been laid off again or for longer.
If his term off work hadn't been extended, quite literally on Friday, he would have been safe from this. But now his mods, me and Seal, get to pick a horror game for him to play through. It's going to be great because I'm currently googling most terrifying horror games to play for PC.
Oh no!
I heard Soma was really good
Oh
for that.
no!
I heard Soma was really good for that. Yeah, and then so there's a game that didn't come out this week, but we got a lot of new gameplay information for it and a beta next week, which is Valorant.
Yes.
Valorant.
Yeah, April 7th, isn't it?
April 7th, so in 2 days on Tuesday, it's going to be the beta. I'm going to be playing it. I didn't get access on my account because of RNG. However, my friend did get access, and he very graciously said that I could play it while he was at work.
Nice.
So I'm going to use as many of those hours as possible to play it, and possibly try to get a key or access to it at the same time, because the only way to get access to it is by watching Twitch streams of Valorant with drops enabled when they're doing drops for the game while having your Riot account linked to your Twitch account.
Or know
So
a guy.
Or know a guy, but
Or
that's,
know a
like,
guy.
None of us know a guy.
I don't know
Hey,
anybody.
I do know a guy who's going to be streaming on Twitch soon.
Yeah, I don't know anybody at Riot. I should probably do that for you as well, Comfy, because if I get a key, I can just give it to you because I'm not going to play it. So
You're not going to play it. It's not your thing.
No.
I've heard the two things I've heard from people about Valorant is either it looks amazing, it looks incredible, I can't wait to play it, which is the camp I'm in because I like CS:GO.
I really want to play it too.
if you
I
like
can't wait.
CS:GO and you like
CS:GO and I like
Overwatch,
Overwatch.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
if
like
you
them
like
both.
those two games, you're going to love Valorant.
Yeah.
I like Overwatch. I'm not a CS:GO guy.
Yeah.
And
Then you would hate.
I'm not sold on the art style of this. I know why the art style is like it is. It's because Riot wants this thing to run on potato. But I'm not a huge FPS person to begin with for most type of SPS games, so not my thing. Just like I never played Doom, unlike these two. I watched quite a few people play it and play through it.
It's a fun game. It's very fun.
But for me, it's more of a watch game than play game, right?
Sure.
Like there's a bunch of FPS games like I'll watch someone play but don't want to play myself.
I will
like,
put out there.
I personally
I would do things for beta code. Just let me know. Let me
I
know.
would personally, I don't play CS:GO because I'm really bad at it.
I
and
really enjoy the simplicity
had
of
my
CS:GO. Like
I do. I just don't like the way that the guns act. You know,
it's weird. It is weird.
and it's something that you need to get used to. And
It's
I
a
did,
little
I used to-
archaic, but you know.
but Valorant looks fun. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
Valorant's gonna be big.
And then this week we also have probably the biggest release coming out the entire spring, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's coming out.
I'm very
I
excited.
heard a rumor that Sony is going to allow preloading before the day before.
I really hope so because
Which would
PSN
be-
servers have been rough.
Sony. Now, PSN servers are slow to begin with because they limit connection speed just to make it fair for everybody. But they have been pretty hard because everybody being home means they're getting hit a lot more than they would normally. So,
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but
like a significant amount more. And
yes, which is why I think they like that rumor is out there that they might allow people to do it
oh,
prior because
I missed one more important game released last week. Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
yeah, that's more of
It's more of a DLC, but
more of a
It is.
DLC special edition type thing.
it's a remade version of Persona 5.
And if you can hear my cat, I'm sorry, I don't know why she's meowing.
I can't hear her.
Okay.
Sure.
Meow meow.
Like
Oh, she's angry about something.
Kitty kitty meow
might be looking for
meow. Kitty kitty
She's
meow
probably
meow.
looking for the dog who's sleeping behind me.
mhm.
She meows like this when she can't find the
Bork,
dog for a while.
Pork.
I'm actually really excited to get into Persona 5 Royale, but
I know Addison's been playing it,
I
buddy of
decided
ours.
to finish Last of Us because I just started a playthrough like last week. I was like, I gotta finish it so I can get ready for Last of Us 2, which is now never coming out.
Okay, so Last of Us 2 is also big game news. It got delayed
It did. Yes.
indefinitely.
That was my
now there's-
segue.
Two reasons for that. One is the fact that distribution models right now are kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Getting games and stuff out there for good reason. I mean, stores worldwide may or may not be closed.
Mhm.
Shipping for stuff is all fucked up for non-essential goods, which this definitely isn't. It's a story game, so they want everybody to have access at the same time
Yep.
because they don't want people being spoiled for people who can't get a copy
And then never
physically,
buying
they
it.
need to get a copy
Right.
and then never buying it because it would hurt
Yeah.
sales. And then there's the subject matter of the game, which happens to deal with a, terrifying pandemic thing that outbreaks and turns people into mushroom people and shit. So
Oh, dude,
current
you
environment, that's not a
I
good place to
feel
be
like-
putting a game out about.
That definitely is not a reason why, because oh man, Resident Evil 3 came out this week. and it
Yeah,
did
I feel like
really
that is just. I don't think that's.
I'm pretty sure they considered that in there as well.
They might have.
I'm sure they considered it, and it might have.
Because the thing is,
Likely
Resident
other
Evil
than-
3's
I don't think it-
release is releasing a game that already exists out in the
Yeah,
public.
it's not gonna. It's not
Whereas
gonna have as much
Last of Us-
media coverage as Last of
Right.
Us. I think it's a silly reason, but at the same
And-
time, I understand why they did it.
Yes,
Because there are some
there's-
people that would be like, yeah,
There's some
but-
people who'd make a big deal of it. Wrongly
just a
so, but
fucking
they
video
would.
game, though.
The thing is, though, those same people are gonna try to make a big deal out of it anyways, just because it's an M-rated story-based game on a popular console that's gonna get a lot of
Yes.
airtime anyways.
Yes,
Like,
but
that's-
when you're also looking at the same time at sales being impacted because of distribution issues, it's just better to delay the game.
Mhm.
No, like the distribution thing, and that makes a lot of sense. What's funny is I
Now-
saw a lot of people online that were like, "Meh, you guys deserve this game being delayed because devs obviously don't care and they're releasing a glitchy game." And the devs are like, the game doesn't really have bugs right now. Like, we're cleaner than we've ever been. We just
like the-
can't do it because distribution is fucked."
Mhm.
It's like the game's not broken; the game's finished. We just can't get it out there physically to people.
The
Right.
game was already
So-
delayed so that it could be finished properly.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
could do like a. I mean, they could just release it digitally in theory, but
And,
that would be.
Well, there's the thing: if
Yeah.
because it's a story game, if they put it out digitally,
Yep.
people are gonna watch.
There would be a bunch of
and then
people
go,
that would
"Eh."
say "fuck it," watch streams, and then never buy it.
Right. It would hurt sales.
Yeah.
And,
Hmm.
you know, it's not to say that not putting a game out isn't going to hurt the company financially as well. It is.
Sure.
Company's going to be hurting
like-
financially anyways right now,
Yeah.
to be fair.
But because of the governments in various countries doing stuff to help out, corporations and companies and businesses that are impacted because of stuff like this, they're probably got a bit of a safety net. Whereas if they put in a bad game, one, they're still doing business, which means they don't qualify for those safety nets. And two, then they're going to get bad sales. And if the sales are bad, even the game is good, it's going to do a lot of damage to a company, especially when the return rate on video games has to be super high for AAA titles. Otherwise, your company may go under.
Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah, and especially like because companies have been very, very wary about releasing story-based games recently as well.
yes.
So that's not to say that they don't sell well, they don't do well, but they don't have as long a lifespan as a multiplayer game, so the purchase
do
window
not.
is much shorter.
Not even slightly do they have. Now, there are some exceptions to that.
Of course.
Typically, they tend to be Nintendo games, though.
Yeah.
Which is also one of the reasons Nintendo games don't go down in price.
God, my wife is still just playing Animal Crossing religiously, and it's adorable, and I love it.
Yes, I am.
You're not
I mean,
my
Chunky
wife.
He's your waifu. I mean, and he is still playing it.
Moo-woo.
I am still making questionable things in Animal Crossing.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
As
Like
saw
what? What do you
earlier-
mean? I don't understand the reference.
The post I made on Twitter about the entrance to my island has gotten over 10,000 impressions now. That's
Nice.
kinda funny.
That's impressive.
Especially since it's like just kind of and that was all I put out there. I've gotten multiple requests about how I did that, as well as I put out a picture of my Bunny Day outfit, which is my character in like the bunny ears and the shirt I was wearing when I went to Comfy's.
Oh man.
And the traumatized Comfy. And I've got multiple requests about people about getting a copy of that shirt so they can wear it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
something I-
sure.
$15. Little man,
No,
put that shit
I'll-
in my hand.
I will put that out for free because it's just funny to me.
I
want it
know.
to spread
I
farther.
wasn't saying you should do
I
that.
mean, my flag is spread to multiple islands now as well because I put the code for that out there, which is great.
Spread
Oh
them.
no.
Okay. So yeah, that's lots of fun.
That was
Uh,
great.
not-
Only 10 minutes late.
Yeah. Do we have anything aside from? I mean, everything's gonna be covering. All the coverage is gonna be on Final Fantasy, but do we have anything else besides that coming out anytime soon?
Not really. I'm gonna try to do something on Thursday as a big special fun event.
Yes, you have your stream anniversary coming up.
Yeah, which is so fun fact. It's my partnerversary.
Yes.
So it'll be 1 year partnered on Mixer. I will have gotten the button drop on Wednesday. That'll be a year from then, but I wasn't able to stream that day. And also, funny enough, this year I can't stream that day because I actually have to go to the hospital to get some infusions done and some blood tests.
So as a side note on that topic, has that been impacted at all for you, like the hospital visits that you have to do?
I haven't been to. So my regimen that they put me on was 0, 2, and 6 weeks initially, and then every 8 weeks after that. I did
Okay.
0 and 2, and then in the week after 2, they was quarantine, shelter in place, shut everything down, non-essential businesses.
Right.
My hospital said everything's still a go.
Yes.
I should still be fine on come Wednesday, but it literally like it was the week afterwards they shut everything down, so I haven't been to a hospital since then.
Yeah, at least it's not weekly then. Yeah, that's good. I mean, you'd be
Absolutely.
exempt. You should be exempt anyways because it's literally a goddamn
It is an
medical
essential
procedure.
thing.
Yeah.
Is like my personal treatment is not essential. It is, however, extreme quality of life. The
Yes.
other people there do have essential treatments though.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a whole lot of we'll figure it out. And now when I go there, I can bring Animal Crossing with me. So
Oh, that's
Yeah,
that's
that's
nice.
a plus.
Awesome.
But so,
Haley's been
I'm not
taking it to
bad.
work with her,
Mm.
so she takes it to work with her
Yeah,
every day.
me and my brother just set up. We had a bunch of extra couches in our house for some reason. So we just took one and like put it in our room. So now I have a really nice couch to just lay on and play Animal Crossing.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but so I'm gonna try to do something on Thursday. I'm trying to get some party games going. I'm gonna try to do some subathon stuff, but I don't know what to do for it exactly. So I'll be looking for ideas if anybody has stupid goals and stuff.
I mean, we're all gonna be stuck inside for a while, so the eyebrows can come off. Just saying.
Yikes.
You know what? If I get $2,000, I will shave my eyebrows. There you
Oh
go.
no! All right, this is going to
I'm gonna have
be
to raise
saved
that. I'm gonna have to
on the
raise that
internet.
number. I'm gonna raise that number.
Nope, you can't. You can't. No,
No,
takesy backsies. Nope.
So,
beep it out.
in other stream news, Dale, you're starting on Twitch on Monday.
Yes, I was just gonna wait until the end and kind of like. By the
I
way,
was trying to allude to it earlier.
I know. You were. He was trying to avoid it.
Mhm.
I've also noticed that you've hit. Is it 50 followers? You need to hit.
yeah,
for
I hit
over
that
there?
today. I also bullied
Yep.
people into following Shark today while we were doing XCOM, so that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you were there for that. Seal was.
No,
She found it hilarious.
I think we should get Dale affiliate this week.
I mean,
Yes.
I'm already at the 50. I just got to stream 7 days. I mean, that's.
Yep. So hit a
I'm
week
pretty
stream,
sure I'll
and
have the
should be good.
CCV of 3 at least. Like, I don't know.
Are you sure? I don't think.
I don't
I
know.
don't think that's.
I don't know.
I think you'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, probably. If not, I'll eat a bug.
And also, like,
Okay.
numbers everywhere. Just quick side note, are up a lot.
They are.
Holy crap!
Yes. Mostly on Twitch, but
Mostly on Twitch, but I'm definitely seeing an increase. Which is-
it's everybody being home, right? And
yeah.
Yeah, I
The
haven't.
thing
I
about,
haven't
like,
found that. At
I
all,
mean, people
actually.
can watch,
but-
stuff online and media and stuff like that, but the problem is most media productions also shut down, so people
Mhm.
are going to run out of shit. So the great thing about Twitch is that it's new content every day.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Mixer, right? So
Yeah.
Well, and also there's a lot of companies that are releasing stuff. Disney Pixar just released their new movie Onward
Mhm.
into Disney Plus instead of theaters because they wanted to release it.
Yeah, Kaylee watched that. She didn't. I
Is
asked
it
her about
out
it. She
on-
didn't seem.
Is it out on Disney Plus?
It is
It's
now.
out on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Now. I haven't watched.
I got to see if it's in Disney Plus here.
Yeah,
Ah,
that's the real
do that.
question. I think it will be, but I think I don't know.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
HBO
Yep, it is. Yep,
HBO
right there.
is allowing you to watch 8 of their top shows for free right now. There's a lot of companies that are just trying to give you stuff to do.
Yes,
Uh,
which is great.
I have YouTube Premium, and they gave me 3 months of Stadia Pro for free.
Nice. I
I'm sure
mean,
that's
you
gonna work
have a whole
great.
nothing to do there still, though, right?
Oh man, yeah. So they sent me an email that says, "We value you, but not that much." So
Oh.
we want you to join our numbers. Join the 3 people in Destiny 2 Stadia Edition playing Trials of Osiris.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn. I mean, you go flawless every time because there's nobody to play against, right?
Somebody.
I mean, it is
as-
crossplay too,
not-
or not crossplay, it's
uh,
cross save.
Yeah, it's cross. So somebody actually
Technically.
said, no joke, they tried playing Trials on Stadia.
Hmm.
They matched the same exact team 4 times in a row. Which now
Look,
the
two-
pool of players for Trials of Osiris on PC and console is obviously dipping because there's a lot of issues with it right now that are being addressed,
Well,
but not soon enough.
Yeah.
People
I
are
have to
dipping
mention-
from Trials for 2 reasons. One, the issues, and 2, the natural decay that we knew was going to happen anyways.
Yep.
Oh yeah, but the natural decay is absolutely sped up, and unless they can bring
It's
it
sped
back,
up by
massively so.
it's sped up
They-
by the cheating issues and the fact that there's not really anything that makes
It's-
people really like want to farm
The
or
natural
farm
decay
flawless.
is the problem is the natural decay for the average casual players is sped up massively, not because of cheating, is because you can't get any loot unless you get 3 wins.
Yeah, that's a
you can't get
fucking
any loot
oof.
unless you get 3 wins, and after the second week, everybody realized the fastest way to get loot was to farm your first 3 wins and reset.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
any casual, anybody who is above average PvP and has below above average teammates will be unable to make it past the first 3 games, which are super sweaty all of a sudden.
Yep. And now they don't, and that basically drove them out of the playlist.
Exactly.
then-
like
and then on
the
top of that,
team I
you
was playing,
people-
it's been crazy.
And because of that, you then have an increase in cheating, which generally comes from those people being driven out because they're not as good skill wise.
Yep.
So, and that adds to the whole issues as well. And it's a clusterfuck. And
And also the internet issues right now. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
the internet
peer-to-peer
issues.
issues and people dropping, and
Yeah.
the rejoin feature isn't available until Tuesday. So
Mhm.
I've been seeing the whole beaver memes making the rounds.
Yeah,
been pretty
Beaver.
funny.
I'm a child. All
Do I
right.
still enjoy trials? Yeah. Is it frustrating? Yeah.
I didn't play trials at all this weekend. I played it like one day last weekend
There's-
and got fucking bullied. I was playing with Pingu and we're just like, this
last
isn't
weekend was a
fun.
bullying week. It was
It's just
not
not
a fun
fun,
week.
and I haven't played. I don't care. I
I've
don't.
seen a lot of bigger streamers like Broman, Goth, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I don't think I saw Lupo playing this week either.
I mean, there's a
We're
lot
both
of people.
um,
There's still a lot of people that are doing trials. I see a lot of.
He's been playing. He's been playing Valorant and
Man, I would love to
Call
play
of-
some Valorant.
and
That looks
Call of-
dope.
Call of Duty, because it just does better. Like
Yeah.
on top of it, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Crafty's still in there, chugging away.
He's in there, Triple Rex in there.
Yeah.
My Twitch feed is all Destiny streamers, so I see a lot of people doing trials.
Yeah.
But
There are, but it's some of the big names you would expect aren't there, and in those cases it's down to the cheating issues.
oh yeah,
So it's because it's just frustrating. So
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
hope they fix it soon. I hope they can fix it. I mean, this is what people were worried about for PC was the cheating stuff, and
Yeah.
I still say they probably would have been better off spending the energy they put in trials on other PvP activities, fixing those.
Give us Rift.
Yeah, Rift and fuck something new, like
Yeah.
something brand new, like
I haven't
not
even cared
trials,
about the
something brand
PvE
new.
shit. I don't care. Like people are like
Oh,
the Seraph
PvE
weapons do
is
things,
not
and
good this
I don't
season.
care. I'm just.
That's why I
I don't
haven't
know.
played Destiny this season at all.
PvE
Like,
Arena is a once a day clear a bunker and that's it.
Yeah.
Versus last season was Sundial. That's not like, regardless of how you feel about Sundial, it's leagues ahead of.
oh yeah,
Look,
It was
this
new.
public event.
Sundial was new. Like
It was
Sundial
fun.
was new. This,
I
the Lost
enjoy- I
Sectors.
enjoy the Seraph public event, but it's not what I want to sit around for 8 days grinding for.
God no. And the
No,
fact that you have to
no.
level up 2 more bunkers after Earth, I'm not even halfway through my Earth bunker, and I'm like, oh, they want me
Yeah.
to do this 2 more
Oh,
times
I had
after
my
this?
Earth
Fuck
bunker
off.
Fully upgraded day 1,
Ugh,
and then
yikes.
the next step on the quest was fully upgrade the Moon bunker. And by the time that came out, I had enough to upgrade the Moon and IO.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
when it opens up on Tuesday, I can literally load in, fully upgrade my IO bunker, and be done with Destiny for the season, pretty much.
Yep.
Which is a problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know
So,
what?
I hope-
Bungie's saying they're putting all their chips on the next season, so they're going
Fucking
all
better.
in, and
They better, because
They are.
this season is such a disappointment that they got to do something
Yeah.
for next season.
what's
Otherwise, it's
funny
going to be
is-
rough.
What's funny is it's about this time every single year that Destiny sucks.
Yeah.
It is, and I was hoping with the seasonal structure of the 3 months thing, where they're going, okay, we have this, going, that wouldn't be the case.
Like, 'cause-
But
so just
yeah.
for reference, Destiny 1 at this point in time, we were deep in the dark below with House of Wolves not yet on the horizon.
Yep.
And there was nothing to do, and people were mad and upset because the only viable raid was a broken, cheesy mess.
Now, I never got to play the Dark Below
Mhm.
when it was out, like during this period, because this is the period of time where I broke my neck, so
Yeah.
I wasn't playing games.
Reasonable.
Obvious
How
reasons.
dare you, casual, fucking casuals, man.
He was snapping necks and cashing checks.
I mean, there you
But
go.
I did get back into playing video games, in particular into Destiny, as part of rehabilitation. So
But so that was that. The next year was Taken Spring, which gave you a content drop about a month ago, and then people realized that there was going to be no new content until September, and this is when they started getting mad.
Yep.
The following year was Rise of Iron, which this was where the content drought was shortly before when Age of Triumph was dropped and released, which everybody was then happy about.
Mhm.
Then we had Destiny 2. This is Curse of Osiris era.
Oh god.
Yep.
Don't even need to
No,
say anything
what a
more
mess.
than that. Last year, this is Season of the Drifter game
Drifter.
time.
God
Yeah.
damn. Yeah.
And then
okay, I will say this: Season of the Drifter was better than this season.
Yeah.
There was more to do, which is goddamn sad.
I like the Reckoning.
The Reckoning is good if it had better rewards that had more meaningful impact on the game. Like if the armor just wasn't good in this one other mode, it would be great. Like,
Mhm.
Gambit Prime is a failure because the armor system is required for your roles.
Yeah.
You should be able to just say, I want to play this role, and then get the buffs for it.
mhm.
So
Oh,
you
yeah.
rant
It's,
it for a little extra longer.
So
So
I hope they fix what they're doing with D2.
Same.
hopefully.
I just want to have fun.
But until then, I'll play ESO.
But yeah, Comfy will be having fun this Thursday doing his
Whatever we end up
partnerversary.
doing.
Where can people find that?
Oh, people can find that at mixer.com/Comfimus. And they can see me announce it at twitter.com/Comfimus when I put up more information about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to see pictures of my cat and my puzzles, you can follow me on Instagram at Comfimus.
I should look at pictures of
if
the
you
cat.
want, and if you think I'm attractive, you can swipe right on my Tinder profile.
Hey.
But Dale, where can people find you now that you're not at mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance?
I mean, I'm at mixer.com/Mr. Vengeance right now, but that ends tomorrow. Tomorrow I start on twitch.tv/Mr. Vengeance TV. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Vengeance TV as well.
So if you listen to this and you haven't already followed him over there, please go over there and follow Dale.
Mm-hmm. Please do. If you would like to continue to hang out with me while I do the video game streams, because that's where they're going to live for the foreseeable future. It's not like a definite, I will never ever change again, but like it's definitely for the foreseeable future. So I don't plan on doing anything else for a while. So yeah. Copper.
And then Copper.
Where do you live on the internet?
Where are you?
Aside from the various streams where you can generally find me hanging out, you can find me at copperlineart.com and Copperline Art and Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, respectively. And if you want to see some mildly offensive Animal Crossing stuff but is furry related, you can find some of that on my Twitter, where I'll be releasing some of my designs to the public.
Hey, who doesn't like furry stuff? Oh man.
It's a big market.
Oh.
It's such a big market.
Can we, really quick, Copper, you know all about like the artists that are like, listen, I hate my life. All I do is draw furry art because it makes me so much money, but I fucking hate furry art.
There are artists who do that. That is literally their life. Here's the thing. As much as people make fun of the furry community, one, they tend to be nice people.
No, there's nothing wrong with it.
And
Live your life.
they are super supportive of artists, which is great.
Fuck, how did we get so distracted on the outro again? God damn it,
So-
it's because of Carol fucking Baskins, isn't it?
Hey,
Down in
little
Florida.
cats and